Hey guys, Igor here. I'm finally back with another video, and today I'm going to be working on my iPhone 7 Plus using the latest version of Pocket Procreate. I'm going to take you along for the process and do a little voiceover commentary. If you have any questions, be sure to leave it down in the comments below. As always, thanks for watching, and let's just jump into it, shall we? Alright, so jumping to the first stage of the drawing, and that is obviously the line art. You know, you can keep it as loose as you want depending on what style you go for. I don't really emphasize on line art much in my paintings. I like to get rid of it in the long run, but as you will see for this one, I'm going to hang on to it just because I like to change it up from time to time. So the idea for the piece was a girl hanging out with her cats, posting her stuff on social media. So this is what we've got so far. And I wanted to have a sort of flow and looseness to the painting, so the emphasis is on her hair draping downwards. You know, you've got the cats to kind of focus on the composition of the piece itself. I didn't put too much detail on the background or her surroundings or even the cats themselves because she's mainly the focal point. So as you can see, I'm using some of, the line art to emphasize the direction of the hair, to drop in some of the different swirls and curls that long hair might have. I've tried to separate the cats so that they're not all identical looking by giving them a slight variation in fur color. And here you can see me drawing in the phone, redoing the arm a little bit, trying to figure out what a good position is for somebody holding a phone in that direction. I added little things like pictures in the background and little light bulbs, and here we are now working on the next step. Okay, so the next step is obviously to start blocking in some different values, and in order to do that, I'm going to create a new layer, drop it below, grab some sort of medium-sized brush, and just go at it. Here you can see me using a few different grays. You have some darker ones in the foreground and some lighter ones for the background. Midtones, you want to separate different elements, so it's a good idea to switch up different grays. And here I'm trying this new technique that I saw Bobby Chiu do. You create a new layer, fill it in with white color. Just to be safe, I went ahead and duplicated my existing line art and then got the copies and disabled them just so they're there in case I mess up or want to go back and redo some stuff. Grab the other line art that is not hidden, collapse it all into the white layer, and put that layer on multiply. This will allow us to paint underneath this multiply layer without affecting the line art whatsoever. So you will see me do that in a bit. I'm just moving around, deleting the little group layer as I created it by accident. And there we are. Now we have the values on the layer underneath and the line art above, and it hasn't affected what we've done so far because the multiply layer is only in black and white and there's no midtones, so none of the range has been shifted. So here you will see me once again go back in with the larger brush. I'm accidentally on the wrong layer, so I go back to the value layer and the line art is not disturbed at all. And now I'm grabbing darker values and placing them in areas like underneath the neck, under the arms. That's what I'm going to do for a short amount of time. It didn't take too long just because I didn't try and focus on perfect lighting or super rendered and realistic values for this piece. I just wanted it quick, loose, and something that makes sense at first glance if you're looking at it from a little bit further away. What I'm doing now is I grabbed another layer, dropped that above the values layer, and put it in color mode. Here I put a couple of base colors down to give the overall painting the kind of color scheme that I'm going for, which is like really warm reds and purples. So after choosing the warm color scheme that I wanted to do, I created a new layer, and for this layer we're going to do a slightly different approach to actually painting the rest of the scene. We're going to put it in hard light mode. So here you see me navigating looking for that, and hard light, the way that you're going to see it affects the drawing is I go for the approximate true color of what it is I want to paint. So here I took kind of like a salmon desaturated pink for her skin tone color, and now I'm just going to blast through all of the skin tone parts on the painting. And for things like the hair, you know, if I want to make it purple or pink, that's what I'm going to do. I went in and I tried to avoid the eyes and the eyebrows, as it would take the dark color of those lines and turn it into a brighter orange. You'll see me go back in and cover up some of the dark lines around her fingers and forearms. This is very sped up, so it might be a little bit hard to follow, but I went ahead and gave her a smartwatch, started coloring some of the cats and doing the eye colors. I've also created a picture-in-picture mode for you guys to follow along a little bit easier, since I like to zoom in and zoom out a lot. I don't want anybody getting sick from watching these. And the timing is a little bit off because one is created by Procreate, the other one is screen capped, and obviously the screen cap will show menu navigations and the Procreate version does not. So the timing might be a little bit off there. You can see I went and tried to go in for a different color on the tips of her hair, kind of have like a unicorn, you know, pink to purple hair dye thing going on. It turned out alright, you know, it's not my favorite. If in hindsight, you know, I could redo it, I probably would have just avoided the purple altogether or softened the transition much more. So once again, this is all done in hard light mode, and from time to time you'll see me switch that layer into natural, into its normal state, so that I could clean up edges, because some of the stuff you will just miss, and you will see that in the video. When I do it, all the colors look really weird and muted. Again, that's because it's just the flat color that you can imagine the object is created in, right? So if you had like a red wagon, it would be in a red color, and the hard light version of that would mix with the different, you know, other layers that you might have. The hair itself, you know, took a little bit of time. That was where most of the tweaking went into effect. Things like just trying to clean up edges, trying to put in shadows. Shadows were also done on the hard light layer. All it took was to grab a darker version of said color. So here is what I was talking about. I went back into normal mode, and you can see clearly some of the edges that were missed because of, you know, the multiply layer or the line art covering it up. So once I go into normal mode, I can see it much better. I can color pick the exact local colors so that, you know, there might not be variation where I don't want it. Variation is really good sometimes, adds a little bit of life to the piece. Here you see me going in with a darker blue, and as I've mentioned already, darker colors tend to do some of the shading for you. So if you use it cleverly enough, you don't even really have to have, you know, a whole separate layer for shading. You could do it all in one go, and that all depends on, you know, your patience and how much time you're trying to put into the piece. Again, this for me was a quick one, so that's what I stuck with. Here you can see me coloring the pineapple, doing the metallic edges of the phone, the rim of the camera and whatnot, going in and doing the eyes for the cat. Little things like that, you know, you can spend an eternity on. So I recommend, you know, as long as you're having fun and you don't mind putting the time into it, go for it. But all in all, you want to get the overall painting done as quick as possible, and then you can just spend all the time you want on details, and that way when you're burnt out, the painting was finished a while back, again, more or less, whatever your version of finished is, you know, and you had fun working on all the details. So here I created a normal layer on top of the hard light, and I painted over some of the line art. I cleaned up edges just using the actual colors that you see now. So this layer is in a normal mode. That's why you can see me covering up some of the line art. Nothing's really blending, and that's because you know, everything that is being done I'm actually doing. So if I want stuff to blend, then I will use a softer brush. So you can see me add a little bit of effects to the light bulbs, we're already nearing the end here. Again, it's just cleaning up some of the different hair strokes, making all the edges a little bit more fine. I didn't make it perfect, you know, I didn't overdo it, I feel, and you will see that in the final version. So as I'm finishing up this piece, you know, some things to keep in mind are it's a little bit of a step away from the usual style or approach that I like to do, but I hope you guys picked something up, right? You can use the black and white multiply layer to color underneath that without disturbing the line art. You can use the hard light mode to add some variation and some color to your piece, and it's pretty straightforward. Here is the completed painting. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions, be sure to ask down below. Let me know what you think about this format. Thanks so much for watching, and have a good one.